You won the fight, but something doesn't feel right, does it? The noise is gone, the crowd is silent, and now, it's just you, and the quiet that won't let you breathe. It's strange, isn't it? You thought winning would make everything better. You thought victory would silence the pain. But sometimes, the quiet that follows the fight is louder than the war itself. Because here's the truth. Winning the battle doesn't always mean you've won the war inside. In fact, that's usually where the real war begins. We don't talk about this part often. We talk about the grind. We talk about the struggle. We talk about the moment of victory. But no one tells you about what happens after the cheering stops. When the world moves on, and you're left alone with your thoughts. Why does this matter? Because this quiet is where a lot of people start to break. Not during the storm, but after it's over. When everything goes still, and your mind starts whispering things you tried so hard to silence. You start asking questions like, why don't I feel happy? Why does it still feel empty? Was this even worth it? You won the fight, but something doesn't feel right, does it? The noise is gone, the crowd is silent, and now, it's just you, and the quiet that won't let you breathe. It's strange, isn't it? You thought winning would fix everything. You thought the pain would disappear once the fight was over. But instead of peace, there's a hollow echo. And that silence? It's louder than every punch you've taken. Because here's the truth. Winning the battle doesn't always mean you've won the war inside. Sometimes, the quiet that follows victory is more dangerous than the storm you just survived. We don't talk about this enough. We talk about the struggle. We glorify the grind. We romanticize the win. But no one prepares you for what happens after the noise fades. When the world moves on. When the spotlight turns off. And you're left alone, with yourself. Why does this matter? Because this is the moment most people fall apart. Not in the middle of the war, but right after it. The quiet exposes everything you've been burying under your battles. And if you're not ready, that silence can slowly eat you alive. Let's break this down. First, the fight gave you purpose. The quiet doesn't. When you were in the battle, you had a mission. You had something to prove, something to survive. The pain pushed you. The fire kept you alive. But after the fight ends, what's left? No target, no adrenaline, just silence. And in that silence, you start realizing how much of your identity was built around the war. It's why so many people feel lost after achieving something big. The goal gave them meaning. Without it, the world feels flat. Think about the athlete who trains his whole life for a gold medal. And the day after winning, he wakes up asking, now what? That silence can be brutal. Because it forces you to admit, your goal wasn't the finish line. It was the fuel. Second, the quiet is where the buried voices get louder. During the fight, your focus drowns everything else out. The fear, the doubts, the insecurities. But in the quiet, they return. Louder, sharper. They whisper things like, you're not good enough, or, this was all for nothing. And you start believing them. This is why so many people fall apart right after they win. Not because they're weak, but because they didn't expect the quiet to be this heavy. During the storm, your focus was sharp. All the fear, doubt, and pain stayed buried under the noise. But in the quiet, those voices come back. Stronger. They whisper, you're not enough. They'll forget you. This was meaningless. And because there's no distraction now, you actually hear them. This is the part no one sees. From the outside, it looks like you've made it. But inside, you're fighting a war no one claps for. Third, you confuse the end of the battle with the end of the journey. Victory is not the end. It's a pause. It's the space between two wars, one outside, and one inside. Most people prepare for the outside fight. Almost no one prepares for the inside one. And the quiet, that's the perfect breeding ground for self-doubt, guilt, and emptiness. You need to understand, just because the world went quiet, doesn't mean your story is over. It just means it's shifting. Victory is not the end. It's the turning point. It's the silence before the next chapter. But most people stop there. They think the story's over. And when the quiet stretches on, they mistake it for failure. But it's not failure. It's transition. The silence isn't telling you it's over. It's asking, what's next? The ones who grow are the ones who answer that question. They build new missions, new goals, new meaning. They don't let the silence become their cage. They make it their foundation. Fourth, silence forces you to face yourself. And that's the hardest battle of all. When the world is loud, it's easy to run. Work, hustle, distractions, noise. But when everything goes silent, there's nowhere left to hide. It's just you, and the parts of yourself you've been avoiding. That quiet isn't your enemy. It's your mirror. It's showing you what's still unresolved, what still hurts. And if you listen, really listen, you'll find the truth you've been running from. Because when the noise stops, there's nowhere to hide. No excuses. No distractions. It's just you, and every part of yourself you tried to outrun during the war. Your regrets, your insecurities, your hidden pain. But here's the powerful truth. Silence isn't your enemy. It's your mirror. It reflects everything you need to heal to truly move forward. The problem is, most people run from that reflection. They fill the quiet with noise. Scrolling, drinking, working, distracting, anything to avoid looking in the mirror. But you can't outrun yourself forever. Here's the thing, you can't avoid the quiet forever. But you can choose how to face it. You can treat it like a trap, or like a teacher. The quiet can break you, or it can build you into someone stronger than the fighter you were before. So what's the takeaway? Winning isn't the end. Victory is just a door that leads you back to yourself. And the quiet is the test that decides whether you truly grow or slowly fall apart. The real strength isn't shown in the fight. It's shown in the silence after. When no one's watching, when the world forgets, when it's just you, and the weight of your own mind. So the next time you win, don't fear the quiet. Don't run from it. Sit with it, face it, and build a new purpose before the silence swallows you whole. Because that's how you win twice. Once against the world, and once against yourself. If this message hit home, don't just scroll away. Ask yourself, what fight did I win, and what silence am I avoiding? Let it sink in. Share your thoughts below. Someone out there might need your story. And if this gave you strength today, like, subscribe, and keep walking your path. Because your real war starts where the noise ends.